Hey, we back, everybody. We back. And me and Jeffrey Deskovic, we definitely fighting the power right now. You know, we definitely making sure that we get that word out there. We making sure we got that love pumping through this show 24/7. We don't know. We can't feel nothing negative on this show. Only thing we put out is the positive. You know what I'm saying? And whenever somebody come with a message, we dissect the positive out of it, not the negative. Jeffrey, how important is that when you're listening to our show right now? I've been falsely accused that you search and you feel the love and the positivity that we giving, but the message is strong. Can you talk about that real quick?
Very important, Cogee. I mean, what people just listening just for the heck of it?
That's what it seems like with some people.
Yeah, but it has to be something deeper than that. Because I know one thing, Cogee, man. I'll take the liberty to speak for both of us. We're both looking for a heck of a lot more than that.
And you got that right. You definitely got that right.
That's the least of it.
That's right. And when I say you got that right, what I'm saying is that people got to understand that this is a serious movement that we trying to make. I mean, we not playing a game. This is real life. This ain't Nintendo. This ain't PlayStation. People don't get up and don't come back from these issues that we talk about. Ain't no reset button. Am I right, Jeff?
Absolutely. Cogee, how many people have we had on the show who, been wrongfully convicted and, spent, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years on there? Some people calling in haven't got out the situation yet. It ain't no reset button. It's not a game. And I'm going to tell you what, you keep emphasizing and telling people, don't go anywhere on the commercial breaks. I want to emphasize on that. Real quick, the key information that a listener might need, the key thing that directly pertains to them and either their or their friends or their loved one's situation, just when they hang up, that might have stopped listening. That might be when it comes out, because you and I have no way of knowing that. It's critical. Someone might need to sit through, 2 whole shows or whatever just to find one particular thing that's relevant to their particular situation. Right. But that's a small price to pay to get something that's helpful. So I want to emphasize, please, when you stop listening to the station, that might, just when you quit, you might have been real close to your goal.
Your breakthrough.
That's right.
That's right. Your goal and your breakthrough, both of them. And that's what we're trying to do. Jeffrey, let me tell you something. Here's the difference with me and you. When we think about Monday, we think about putting in work. We think about resurrecting somebody's situation. Other people think about Monday, and it's the worst day of the week. That's ready to get started.
Yeah, you know that that's right, Coach. I really believe, to digress to a life lesson, I really believe that it's important, for people to do something, that they enjoy doing, that has some positivity, that has some meaning, that's world changing, that makes a difference, as opposed to just something you hate doing,
right.
Just for a paycheck. If you go in that situation just for the paycheck, I understand it in the short term, but I hope everyone who's listening that's in the situation in the short term just for the paycheck, that there's an exit strategy. Like, that's just what they're doing in the meantime until they transition from that to what they really want to do. Don't waste your career on something just for the money, man. Do something that's meaningful that you enjoy doing. That way, it's not really work, even though you might get tired.
That's right. You're definitely right about that, because if your heart's in it and your desires in it, it's not work. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not work. I mean, I look at it like this. When Michael Jordan, would play for hours and hours and hours, he didn't look at it like work. That's something he loved doing, playing ball, practicing his game, getting ready for his A game. And that's what we do. We helping people to get on their A game, but we definitely giving them A game advice.
Absolutely. I remember Michael Jordan was quoted. They had him in a gym, and he was saying, I could never stop working hard.
That's right. That's right. And that's what it's about. And that's why when I look forward to Mondays, I always think to myself, wow, somebody's going to get delivered. Somebody's going to get saved. Some family is going to hear what they need to hold on a little bit longer. Somebody in prison is going to say, hey, you know what? Long as Jeffrey's out there and he got that organization and he got it rolling and they got falsely accused and they got the radio show, him and Cogee, I know it can happen for me. I know it can happen for me. Now, one thing that we do, Jeffrey, we don't play no games. We bring people through the show, like who we got in this next hour. We got Frank O'Connell and we got his son Nick. We got real people that come through the show that have been shuffled around everywhere for years. And guess what? They number came up and they out. They are real true testament that you can get out and you can be exonerated. It might take a while, but it can happen. And that's why I keep stressing to everybody out here, it's not a game. When you get caught up and you get tagged, it's not a game. The longer they can hold you, they will hold you. And that's what Jeffrey tried to explain to everybody. They will hold you. If you don't fight and you don't do everything you can do to try to get out, they have no problem giving you room and board. No problem at all. They getting a paycheck. While you putting out your paycheck to fight to get out, they earning a paycheck just for you chilling in jail, watching TV, lifting weights, doing whatever you doing in jail, studying in library or whatever. Long as they got that body, they got a paycheck. Jeffrey, back me up and we're going to move forward.
No, you said it all. I agree with that. I agree with your sentiments 100%.
Okay, there it is. Now, before we went to a break, I had asked Holly. Holly, you still with me?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I had asked Holly, you being a mom and going through this right now, and I know me and you talked yesterday, and I know you wish this on no mom anywhere around the world. But what would be your encouragement to another mom who might be going through something a little bit, detrimental than you going through right now? Even if it's a person not going through it, you being a mom who loves your son and all the things that done happened to your child in prison, and you got to lay at home and just think about, him getting hurt, and there's nothing you could do except what you're doing right now, trying to get the awareness out, trying to, round up money also, if you can, to help him out a little bit more, get him the right attorney he need, and, coming to be with me and Jeffrey on this show to roll with us. What would you say to that parent that don't have a clue right now, that might be on the verge of giving up?
The only thing I can say, if you love your child, you don't stop fighting. You have to. It is extremely hard. It is extremely stressful. I have aged through this process. It's an ongoing stress, but you can't give up the fight. You just have to keep fighting. And I will always keep fighting for my son, even though if he feels he has given up, I won't give up. So any parent that's going out there, if you love your child and if your child is innocent of whatever charges, don't stop fighting.
That's right. Now, let me ask you this real quick, and then we're going to move on. With the situation with you and your son, you said when he was younger and you was in a relationship that was a bad relationship, a toxic relationship, and it was bad for your son because he got ran out of the house and he went on about his business, just to be somewhere safe to make it, but he landed in a bad place. What would you say to that parent and that child who's in a bad place right now?
That's kind of a hard question to answer, because everybody's situation is going to be different. I was in a situation I was not able to help my son due to my muscular dystrophy. But if you are able to help your child, if you're able to get them in a safe place, do that. Because unfortunately, because I was not able to help my son, he went from one bad situation to a worse situation. So the only thing I would just say to anybody, if you know your child's in trouble, if you have the means, to make sure you get a proper attorney and investigate that attorney. Just don't go by what people saying. Look at that attorney's track record. Do all your homework, because that can really, that might be like the worst situation if you don't get the right attorney for your child. So the only thing I could just say is that make sure you stand by your child, especially if you know that your child is innocent, because I know my son is lonely. I know prison is not a place for anybody to be. I can see what prison has done to my son, and just for that alone, you just do everything you can to support your child.
That's right. You're definitely right about that. Now, one more thing I want to ask you real quick, because we got to let the phone lines, we got to clear up the phone lines real quick, and we're going to go to a break. When you lay at night and when you can doze off and go to sleep, because I know you're drained from this whole situation, whenever the phone rang and you see that it's a call from prison, do it make you nervous thinking that your son didn't commit it to suicide because he's been telling you he can't take no more, and he just don't want to do this no more, it's been too long and it's all for nothing, and he didn't do nothing? Do you get nervous before you answer that phone?
I always get nervous. The reason being, unfortunately, my son, he has been dealing with mental illness since the age of 5 when he tried to hang himself. My son has been institutionalized his whole entire life. So he has had numerous, I can't even count how many times my son has tried to commit suicide. It's by the grace of God that he is still here. So it's very nerve-wracking, and especially if I get a call from medical, that my son's not doing well or he's back in the hole or whatever. I hardly ever sleep, and it's very hard. It's very hard to see him when I go for visits because I can see how the stress, how it's aged him, the fact that he is blind in one eye and he's deaf, and you can see his jaw has been broken. It's extremely, it's heartbreaking. So that's the only way I can really answer that.
Okay. All right. Well, I definitely want to thank you, and I want you to hold on with us. We got our next guest that'll be coming in, but we got to fix the phone lines real quick. So everybody, y'all stay locked in, stay tuned in. We got Frank and we got Nick O'Connell. They'll be in a second. Jeffrey, you're doing a great job. To everybody around the world, I want to thank y'all for the support. I'm getting a lot of texts from a lot of people that's checking out the show. I want to thank my man Pac for being in the studio with me. I do appreciate you. Hey, and to Foxy, Foxy's sick, everybody. Foxy, we wish you well, and we're looking forward to you returning Wednesday. So everybody, stay locked in, stay tuned in. We'll be right back. Hey, we back, everybody. We back. We got the phone lines cleared up. We got everything straight right now. And in with us right now, we got, our special guest who definitely, we had a great hour last week, you know what I'm saying? But everything was backed up because of our guests. We have Mr. Frank O'Connell and Nick O'Connell, who definitely brung it strong. And I want to thank y'all for being on the show again today.
Thanks, Cogee.
Pleasure to be here, Cogee.
All right, man. I just want y'all to know coming out the gate that I appreciate both of you all. I feel like that y'all really make me and Jeffrey shine. And what I mean by that is because we shine with the truth. We bring justice and we bring the truth through our show. And y'all definitely are justice and the proof. Nick, you the justice, and your dad is the proof that justice can, prevail for everybody, and people can come out of prison who's been falsely accused. Nick, I want you to come in and definitely talk to our audience about that, how it can happen, and what is the process of trying to make that happen for somebody, Nick?
Well, I think if you're an advocate for somebody who's been wrongfully convicted, you need to get your facts together, put pen to paper, and explain very clearly what the situation is, and also start to gather the documents necessary. And that's court. That's all the trial transcripts. That's any police reports you can get your hands on. Anything you can prepare. And then what you want to do is you want to reach out to any number of the organizations across the country that work for those who have been wrongfully convicted. You can get online and find it. I know there's an Innocence Network, and they have a lot of projects across the country. I think upwards of 60 of them. And then I know Centurion Ministries, the organization I work at. We work nationally as well. We have narrow criteria, but what you want to do is you want to be able to present the information and the facts of the case to these organizations. And at the end of the day, they're going to be the ones that are going to take the case and run with it, because you're going to need investigators, you're going to need attorneys, and it's a long uphill battle. My dad's case took 14 years and $500,000. So what you need to do, and last year we got 1,700 requests across the country. So it really helps your case if you can present the facts in an easy and clear manner for somebody who's reading them to understand what's going on.
Wow, Nick, you really broke that down, man, and I mean that. I mean, you broke it down, and the good thing I like about the whole situation is with you and your dad, y'all give it to us raw with no chaser. Y'all don't create something that sounds good. No, y'all just come with the facts that, hey, this is a dog fight. If you ain't the dog in the fight, you won't be able to contend with this situation. You're gonna give up, because it's a lot of times, Nick. I know. Did you ever think to yourself, oh man, what if? Did you start falling in the what if, frame of mind?
Not really, but I think that's just a survival mechanism that people take. I know my dad he can speak for himself, but I know that a lot of other people, family members and friends of those who've been wrongfully convicted, when I speak with them, And I'm actually over at one of our exonerees, a man named Mark Sheehan, who spent 27 years in prison in Massachusetts, who was wrongfully convicted as well.
Oh,
I was just speaking with his wife, who visit with him every week for 27 years. And we both shared that exact same sentiment. We never believed for 1 second that they wouldn't come home. We never believed that the truth wouldn't eventually surface.
And you said his wife stood beside him for how long?
27 years, just like Dad.
27 years. You know what? You can't do nothing but give the women the props when they stand by them like that. But, you know, I also want the men to stand by the women like that. A lot of times you hear a lot of women that's in prison, you know, say they don't have men to stand beside them that long like that. Not at all. You know what? And one thing I want to do, I want to go to Frank right now real quick. Frank, come on, give me some of that energy, man. I love your energy, you and Nick. I love your energy. Give me some of that energy, Frank.
I'm here. I'm feeling it. I'm enjoying it.
That's good, man. Let me tell you something. I want to say welcome to the show again. And me and Jeffrey definitely wanted to celebrate you. And I want to tell you that you make me strong in what I'm doing right now. You know what I'm saying? Because I haven't been through what you've been through, but you give me that dog inside of me to keep fighting for what me and Jeffrey are trying to do with I've been falsely accused, and to know it can happen. The right person heard this show with me and Jeffrey, this show is going to take off like a rocket because it has substance and it has meaning. And how important is that, Frank? You know, for somebody who's down to hear this show.
Oh, my gosh. It is so important. It gives so much hope to have a program like this, a show like this, to give the word to the people out there that are involved with the people that are wrongly convicted, or like in Holly's case where her son hasn't been convicted yet.
Right.
It's such great encouragement because, you know, it's not only, it wasn't only myself that was locked away for 27 years. It was my family, my friends, my community. You know, it's a whole array of people involved. It's just not one person behind the bars. And to have wrongful conviction agencies out there, advocates who help and bring the word out, makes a huge difference to these guys. I know how they feel on the inside. I know exactly what they're going for. Jeffrey knows exactly how they feel. And to know that there's people on the outside fighting for us makes all the difference in the world. We never want to give up. And know that at the end of the road, there's freedom, you know, with the support of shows like yourself and other agencies that help with wrongful conviction.
That's right. And I hear you. And you know what? That's why I always want to be that tunnel for you guys to come through. You know what I'm saying? And to be heard and to let people know that, hey, it's real. We really do, you know, because I know you hear some people in jail and they like, oh, don't nobody care on the outside. Yeah. It sounds good. But I think me and Jeffrey, we done been very consistent in what we've been doing. And that's right.
That's right.
And that's what it takes because, you know, we have to back up Nick, like all the Nicks of the world who's out here still fighting for you guys, Frank. We have to be the backup for Nick because we give Nick a platform to come on our show and say, hey, I'm fighting for my dad. My dad been down 27 years. We getting close to getting him out. Every time we have somebody to come through this show and they can show a ray of light and show, hey, you know what? We found the invisible key. This person's coming out. That should give everybody a reboot and rebirth of energy in trying to fight their case to get out. You get what I'm saying?
That's right. That's right. You said on the I think it was the first or second hour that your friend had mentioned something about a video that goes viral, but yet you can't get the support as quick as you like it on the program.
That's right.
It seems to me that you know, most people out there they have this sense of disconnect. They seem not to get involved in the wrongful conviction movement unless something happens with them or their family members or their friends.
That's right.
You know, until it happens to them, they don't want to get involved.
And we the first people that they call, me and Jeffrey.
Right. And you know, hey, if it could happen to me, it could happen to you.
Got that right.
You know, the way I look at it. And like you were saying, you know, don't give up on the inside. We're looking for that one person out of 100,000 that's going to help us.
That's right.
And it's the same out here that we have to filter through and hopefully get that one out of 1,000 to help support us.
That's right.
To help make the movement go stronger. So, you know, we just never give up. It's an uphill battle, no doubt about it. but it's a great battle. It's worth fighting for.
See, all our listeners, now we got to go to a break and we'll be right back. But see, all our listeners, they just need a son. They got that monster truck with a big old chain and he throw it down the hill and pull his daddy right out like you and Nick. You know what I'm saying? And definitely make it happen. And that monster truck is the knowledge. It's the knowledge that we all are given today on the show. That's the monster truck with the big chain on back of it to pull you out. That's what I'm trying to say. So
Nick wanted to bring a helicopter in for me.
You know that's right.
My plan was come in with a SEAL team and a helicopter to the yard.
You know that's right. And drop the
Monster
ladder.
trucks or helicopters, either one.
Got that right, definitely. So we'll be right back, everybody. And when we come back, you know, Mr. Frank O'Connell, he's definitely going to bring us up to speed on what it took for him to get out. Him and Nick and Holly, much love to you. We coming to you too, Holly. I'm glad you're staying in with us. I hope, Holly, you getting a rebirth from this whole situation with us. I know you're going through something tough, but you got allies, you got brothers on the phone and sisters of every color. We all coming together with that love,
right.
Okay? All right, so we'll be right back, and we got Nick and we got Frank O'Connell who's in with us, and like I said, they definitely lighten it up and bringing that knowledge. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody, we back. Welcome back to the I've Been Falsely Accused radio show with me. I'm your host, Cogee, and we got my man, Mr. Jeffrey Deskovic. Jeffrey.
Yes.
I got to ask you a question, okay?
Absolutely.
$1 million question of the day.
Okay, I hope I get it right.
Oh, man, come on. I'm rolling with you. I know you're going to bring us through, Jeffrey. Okay, Jeffrey, I want to ask you this question. Here it comes right now. What do you think about the show today, and why is this show important?
This show is very important because we're providing, practical advice. We're giving people starting points. We're giving them a framework to think about,
That's right.
What they need to do to be successful on their case. I think that we're raising awareness about wrongful convictions in general, and we're pushing towards changes in the law, and that's what raising awareness is all about. And we do that by talking about these issues, by bringing guests on such as Frank and such as other exonerees, and we illustrate that this isn't just involving the wrongfully convicted, but their family and their friends. And I think Nick is a great example of that. And so
That's right.
I think we're doing some good work here.
We are, definitely. And Jeffrey, some people might say, well, okay, I know Cogee's asking Jeffrey that, and I know Jeffrey's going to say this. But think about this, Jeffrey. This is the reason why I asked you. If me and you, Frank and Nick right now, and Holly, we was to bet on anybody, wouldn't we want to bet on the confident person who we really think, we believe, we know they trained for the situation, they've studied the situation, and they are ready to handle this, and they going to put all their chips out there on the table? Wouldn't you roll with somebody who's going to put all their chips out there first?
Oh, absolutely, Cogee. Listen, what separates the talkers from the doers is the doers take action.
You got that right.
That's right. Someone that did, they for real about it, right? There ain't no question as to how far they're going to go or what the level of their commitment is, right?
That's right. You're definitely right about that. And that's why I wanted to ask you that, because, man, you really are my partner on and off the air. We are really friends on and off the air. We don't just do this because we come together every Monday, twice a month, 2 times at the end of the month. We do these shows. No. We really working hard all the way up to these dates of these shows, to have a platform for Frank, for Holly, for Nick, for everybody, Lorenzo, for Maurice, for Obi, for everybody that then came through. I mean, the list is so long, I can't even remember everybody. But one thing I do know, everybody has put a brick in the wall of this show to build this show to where it is. And I want to thank everybody for rolling with me and Jeffrey. Every time we have these great people come through with their stories and being exonerated, I mean, they bring in, they cement, and they bring in, the brick. They building onto this wall and this foundation that we got right now. And I thank everybody for it. And hey, right now on the phone, I want to thank Holly, I want to thank Frank, and I want to thank Nick, and I want to thank, all the other exonerees and all the people that call in to support these people who, are now y'all over the hump. Y'all over the hump. So I want to thank all of you guys.
Thanks a lot, Coach. But I'll point out, people that come on the show, they might be over the hump themselves, but you know what? They're still not forgetting.
Right.
They're giving us their time by coming through the show.
That's right. You're right about that. Now, I want to go to Frank real quick. Frank, I want to ask you a question, okay?
Okay.
I want you to explain to our listeners all the different ways that, your innocence was proven?
Well, to start off with, the eyewitness recanted and told the truth of what had happened at the original six-pack photo array. And he had chosen two people, not one, as it was written in the police report. So he came forward, recanted, told the story of why he lied, how he was coerced. And then also there was it was you call them the notes, the original notes from the police. It's notepads that the officers use, the flip notepads. And in the notepads, they withheld that evidence. It showed that the eyewitness did pick two people, and it showed that another witness that was involved in he witnessed a yellow Pinto station wagon, and he had said that I had came up to him and asked him for a jump start. He had also picked two people. But in the police reports, what they brought to trial, said that he went directly to number 3, which was me, and that was wrong. There was also in those notes not a confession, but a note showing that the girl involved in the ex-wife of the victim had previously tried to kill him along with another gentleman. And so all that evidence right there dismantled the evidence back at the trial. And that was the evidence that overturned my conviction.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you know what? And see, the thing about it is, it was so many twists and turns in her with what you were saying a minute ago. But when your case was when they was fighting your case, Frank, did you lay back and did you ever think to yourself, wow, I done 27 years. Like, what if this don't work? I mean, were you dreading just knowing you had to be in there even longer?
You know, when I was doing my own appeals with the jailhouse attorneys, like Jeffrey was talking about earlier, I would get denied. You know, I'd go through the long process, and then the day I'd get the ruling, I'd get denied. And at that point, I was thinking, oh, my gosh, am I ever going to get out?
Right.
And then once I got involved with Centurion Ministries, when they picked up my case, I never had doubt. They just kept moving forward. And there wasn't a time, even to the day that I went to my evidential hearing, had my hearing, and then had to go back to prison and wait for the ruling. And I got the ruling a day after my birthday. I never had any doubt. I knew I was going to go home. And I had always told my son, someday I'll be home.
I hear you.
So I personally never gave up.
Okay.
Never.
Okay. Holly, what would you like to ask Nick and Frank?
Well, the question I hear that you're saying the person recanted this story. In my son's situation, the woman who accused my son, she actually confessed that she lied. Was caught on 2 cameras at her job, but the attorney didn't bother to do anything. And when I tried to get the tapes, of course they wouldn't give it to me. But I don't, like in my son's case, I don't know what else I can do. I can keep fighting, but I doubt the woman now is going to come forward, because I know that she sees what's been blogged, about the situation, and even though I guess the statute of limitations of going after her for lying is over, so she wouldn't get in trouble. But I don't know what else I can do. I would really need for her to recant, to go to the DA and say, look, I lied. I was mad, and that was her confession. She said that she was mad that her kids were taken away, and she didn't know all this was going to happen to my son. And you can't lie on people. And my thing is, I don't understand why I can't go after her for lying. She has ruined my son's life.
Okay. Do you want?
That's my question. How can I go and make sure that this woman? I mean, and the thing is, the attorney even admitted that my son was innocent, and I have witnesses that heard him say that. But yet, my son's still in prison.
Okay, we'll go with Nick, and then we're gonna go with Frank real quick.
Well, I'd have to see all the details of the case. Like, I'd have to know when she recanted on tape, who witnessed that. There's just so many details that I'd need to know to like point you in a very specific direction, which kind of reverts back to my original advice, which is you're going to have to put your trust in an investigator and an attorney. I would maybe find the attorney, find the investigator, but you're going to have professionals in this, because it really is, the minute you're convicted, it's completely different to prove innocence. It's not beyond reasonable doubt. Now the loophole is very, very tiny. So it seems logical, it seems simple that, if I just get this person to come forward and tell the truth, everything will go away and be rectified, but that's not at all the case. And even in Dad's case, for instance, the primary eyewitness came and recanted, but we also had we had experts on your visual abilities as a human, so they would come in and they would point to the fact that this gentleman had a 2400 prescription and demonstrated what his visible capabilities were. And so, point being, we brought forward a witness who was fully cooperative and entirely willing to recant, even with the district attorney threatening that they were going to charge him with perjury. But they ended up not. But anyways, they threatened that, and he came forward fully cooperative, but we still needed several different experts who had to be paid, who had to come in, all had to be prepared by a very, very seasoned post-conviction attorney. So I guess I just keep going back to this point that as a lay person, as a common citizen, we don't have the capability to do what needs to be done. We need to find advocates. We need to find professionals.
Okay.
Well, so there's no more money. There's no more money. My dad's lost a lot of money. We've gone to 2 attorneys. The second attorney didn't even bother to show up for my son's hearing.
Yeah, she's tapped out right now.
And that's where the nonprofit organizations come into play. And that's the shame of this scenario, is that your son's not alone. I mean, we have 2.3 million people in prison. A recent study in the National Proceedings of Science show 4% of people on death row are innocent. You put that and you spread that statistic across 2.3 million people, and we have upwards of 100,000 innocent people in prison. And we've freed 1,400 exonerees that were currently registered. So it's like winning the lottery to get the pro bono assistance to do this work. But your only shot is to put together a well-written explanation of the case, reach out to these organizations, get online, and look at the Innocence Network. Look at the wrongful conviction agencies in your area and that work nationally.
Okay. Now, we'll go to Frank real quick. Frank, what you think?
Yeah, I would suggest that you get online and you look up every exoneree that's gotten out, find out who the attorneys are, and write them, and just hope that somebody will do it pro bono to help out. I think what you need is a good criminal attorney and investigators, because that's the only way you're going to get the evidence. You doing it yourself, this eyewitness is probably not going to recant. And if she does, like Nick said, they're going to pressure her and say that they're going to charge her with perjury. So there needs to be more investigation done. So that's my only advice. I was real fortunate. It was 24 years after my conviction is when the eyewitness came forward and recanted. I guess he until his conscience got to him, it took that long in my case. So
can I ask you a question real quick? Two of the girls are now they're considered adults. Can I try to see if they would recant this story?
Well, you could, but like I said, it's just very unlikely. You can, but here's also the other side of it. If you start to approach these witnesses yourself, if you aren't experienced in taking affidavits, taking thorough notes with your investigations, it could come back to bite you. And I don't know, what state are you in, because some states also have rules like time bars from when you first discover the evidence, and it starts a clock that you then have to have it presented in court. So, for instance, you go and you approach this witness, and let's say that they do go along with you and say they'll recant. Well, in Pennsylvania, for instance, you have 60 days to present that to the courts. Otherwise,
Wow.
that evidence is null. So I know it sounds like I'm kind of kicking a dead horse here, but it's outside of the scope of anybody who isn't an experienced post-conviction attorney to really come in and undo a conviction. I mean, it just takes professionals who know exactly what they're doing on this.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, Jeffrey.
I definitely have to. I definitely have to agree with that. That was kind of like the point I was getting at too. I think there's a difference between doing research and getting information and everything versus speaking directly with witnesses. Now, plus the other element of that too is depending on how things go, you don't want to wind up being charged with witness tampering either.
Yeah, that's true.
So again, that has to, that's another thing to think about.
Yeah, that's true because, I mean, from what I've been hearing from everything, and like I said, I've never been through it, but with me just listening right now, it's y'all basically telling Holly she shouldn't talk to this person at all because that's already tampering with a witness, right?
Well, just the act of speaking by itself isn't witness tampering, but I'm saying, but if it's, if she says or the authorities try to say, well, you threaten somebody or you frighten them or you try to just do something other than just a conversation with them, it's possible that they could take that, your interaction, and then twist that. I wouldn't personally, on my own criminal case, for example, I wouldn't personally speak directly to any witness in the case. I would have a professional, I would have an investigator do that part of it.
That's right. Yeah, because Holly, you definitely don't want to blow nothing. And your son, you got to remember, his life is already at stake. All the way around the board, with him wanting to take his life, because this is ridiculous. He knows it's ridiculous what he's going through it, but we got to remember, he's the one going through the pain and going through it, not us on the outside. So I definitely agree with you guys. And, that's why I said that I felt like we had to bring the right team in today to talk about this situation, because they answering so much stuff that I have no idea about. So that's why I turned to, the Franks, the Nicks and the Jeffries, and Lorenzo's. I got to turn to the people that, they done dealt with it before. They, when it comes time to dogfight, they already know how to train for it. You know what I'm saying? So, Holly, we just want you to know, no matter what, we got a lot of love and we really care about you. We done had you on here twice, making sure that we give you all the information you need. And, I talked to you yesterday for a while on the phone. I even hooked you up with, Jared Adams. I hooked you up with him. So, we care. That shows by what all we done done.
I appreciate it. I appreciate all the help.
Okay.
I really do.
Well, we're on short time. Real quick, Holly, words of encouragement to our listeners, real quick.
If you have a child that's been falsely accused, just make sure that you're always there for them and make sure that they know that you have their back. Okay.
Frank, real quick, words of encouragement to our listeners.
Yeah, never give up. Never, ever give up. It's an uphill battle. That's the truth. But never give up. Always put one foot forward in front of the other, and when you finally get help, accept that help. Accept what they can offer you, and take it and move forward. And just know that someday your loved one's going to come out, or yourself, as in Lorenzo's case, is going to make it out.
All right.
Just never give up.
All right, Nick. Words of encouragement to our listeners.
Well, I'd say if you know someone who's wrongfully convicted, just give them your love and support. At the end of the day, you're their lifeline to the free world. You're a loving spot in their life when they're stuck in prison. So that would be the first bit of advice, and the second part would be find whatever professionals you can and hope that they will lend a hand. Okay,
Jeffrey, words of encouragement.
I want to echo everything and say, don't give up. And I'll add, there's a lot of different routes to it. Another aspect which I'll just briefly mention here. One way that people have been exonerated which hasn't been mentioned, is sometimes the lay people advocates, they they raise funds, even just from a layperson's perspective, and then ultimately they get enough money together over a long enough period of time that they can hire the necessary professionals. So that's another way of going about it.
Okay. All right. So what I want to do, Jeffrey, real quick, because we just down to 1 minute, so I got to say this quick. I want to thank everybody for being on today. I want to thank all our special guests. Y'all do mean a lot to us. But what I think we should do next time, Jeffrey, on I've Been Falsely Accused, I want Frank to come back. I think we should bring exonerees through, and we all have an open forum. What do you think about that, Jeffrey?
I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, let's change the game up, and let's bring Frank. So I'm inviting you back on the next show, and we're going to have other exonerees on the phone. We're going to have an open forum all 3 hours.
Great. Sounds great.
Okay. So everybody can be brought up to speed. Nick, you welcome to call in. You welcome to be a part of it. Holly, I think it's a show that you definitely should listen to. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So to everybody around the world, I want to say thank you. I want to say much love to you. We do this show out of love. We not getting rich from doing it, but we do get off this show, and we the richest men in the world. So much love to everybody. Stay tuned in. Hit those websites. Give us the love. Give us the likes and follow us. Much love. Until next time, stay free.